I am here today with part 2 of my little hand lettering hacks video series that I am putting up at the request of some viewers who were asking about the way that I wrote the months in my seasons and ideas journal. And so I thought, you know what, I've had that request a few times, and I will show you my hacks. Like I said, I'm just calling them tips, tricks, and hacks. They're not by any means any sort of professional hand lettering videos. This is just some cool ways to add some interest into your journaling, to accentuate one word, to accentuate the title or the date, to add a little, call out on the side as you're journaling something. These are just some different ways to add some interest to your journaling. So today, I hope that you all, if you watched the first video, if you didn't, go watch the first video. I go through a bunch of supplies that I use, which most of are not, super specialty or anything. And we learned to thicken the downstroke. I hope that you guys all went and had some fun playing around with that and added some fun into your journals and stuff using that. Even fun to address an envelope if you're sending envelopes out to people, to write the name of the person in kind of a cool post, font, and then just write the rest in your regular script. There's all kinds of applications for adding a pop of fun lettering or writing to something. So today we are going to talk about something that I do quite a bit. It's called, I'm calling it create a post, because like I said, none of this is professional. All of these are mostly my made up words. Today I will just be using a Pigma Micron and a fine tip or regular tip Sharpie. And I'm using these two because they show up the best as I write here on camera, so you can see. So creating a post, this is going to be not a cursive one. This will be writing script or block letters, and you can do it. I did it all in caps here, but you can do it in lowercase as well, which I will show you. And it creates this kind of cool looking lettering, and you can do several things with it. This one is scribbled in, this is an open space, and then I've used that open space to make some marks in. So without further ado, let's start writing some things. The basic idea of this is to start to have each letter have a post, so like that open space in it, and then the rest of it all kind of goes off of that. So I'll just start writing the alphabet. Let's do that. So here's an A. Before I put the crossbar in, I want to create a post. I can do it on this side, like this, or I can do it on the other side, like this. Either way works. But what I would suggest is, if you start making the posts on this side of your letters, then any of them that have like this, you would keep them on that same side. If you start making your posts on this side, then any letters that have a big up and down, I would keep the post on that side. It's neither here nor there. You'll kind of, as you do this, you'll get a feel for it. And then for a lowercase letter A, I would usually do it like this. I do mine like this. So my post would go on this side, which is kind of like thickening the downstroke on some of the ones with curved letters like that. Then let's go with a B. This works best with uppercase letters. So there, my B. And then I'll make a post, which is like simply just a rectangular box. And then I'll build my B off the side of it. Now C is another curvy letter, so I'll do that. And your post kind of ends up being more like a thicken the downstroke thing. So you just kind of create the post, but I try to make it more of a straight line rather than the curvy organic line. It looks a little more posty. And then, a small c would be the same thing. Uppercase D. So most letters, it's pretty obvious where the post would go, right? The difference between this and thickening the downstroke is that we're only putting one post in, right? As opposed to when we would do thickening the downstroke, we would put every place that we had a downstroke, we would put one in. So again, here's an F. And I've got my post, and then I've got my little lines off of it. Then a small lowercase f. Okay. So are you guys seeing what I'm doing here? I'm just creating that post and then making the rest of my letter off of that. G. Now with a letter like H or M, where you have several up and down ones, this is where I'm talking about you can either decide to put it on this side or this side. If you went with this side, then I'd go with this side on an H or an M. If you went with the other side, I would go with the post on the other side. And that's just for continuity, right? This side, I will say the left side tends to be my dominant side. That's just where I always seem to think I like it. But I forced myself to do it on the other side sometimes, and it's cool. It can change the way something looks. Then for an H, right? Let me go with an I. There's my post. Small I. When I do a small I like this, I like to make the dot open. You know what I mean? Same thing with like a J. So a J, because it curves, my post is going to be a little bit curved at the bottom. And like I was saying about, we'll go J, K, and my lines come off my K, post, L, lowercase l is just a rectangle. And then here's my M. So I'm only going to make, now you've got a lot of lines, I'm only going to make one post. So I make my post on this side and the rest is not. Or you can put your post and make it shorter. Either way, right? Whatever way you like, whatever style you like, whatever, how you like, you can look how you can play with it, right? Same thing with an N. One post on that side and that's it. Oh, lowercase O, again, because it's that circular organic shape, you just kind of make a little bit more of a straight line to come down and be your post. P. Q is going to be the same thing as an O, right? And my post on the baby Q is going to be on the back side. Or there we go. Now S is a bit tricky, and I'm going to get out a separate sheet of paper really quick here to show you something. I thought I had an extra piece right here. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to show you something about the S. I'm going to show you really big so you can see what I'm talking about. Normal S, right? It lines up usually on this side and this side. So like your line for the top of your S, then the back of your S, it's about the same width, right? So if we wanted to make the posts on that, we could go like this. So we could go like this. Or if you want to do it the thicken the downstroke way, which is what I normally do, then you go like this and you end up with this lopsided S that comes out way further on this side now because you've thickened that side. So what I do is I anticipate that by cutting this line short. So you get this weird shaped S, right? Well, this should come around this way a little more. So this looks like it's anemic. This side looks fat and normal, and this side looks anemic, because then when I come down, thickening that downstroke, it finishes it off to make it the same width thing. Does that make sense? So I make it look normal on top, but then I cut it short here, so it looks skinnier and weird here. And that way I can bring down the post, or the thickening the downstroke, and then that widens it back out to where it's normal, right? I hope that makes sense. I can't think of another way to explain it, but these are two different ways that you can create the post for an S. I tend to do the thing where I make it, where I compensate like that. Wow, that's way easier to do on a smaller scale than that larger scale. So that's my S. And you'll notice it just fits right in, even though it's, because it's, we're used to seeing S as a squiggly line, you know, organic line like that. And T. And lowercase t, I do either this way, or I kind of like to, for some reason, round the bottom off a little. That's how I prefer to do my lowercase t, just to put this little rounded off thing. I don't know why, but I end up doing it that way most of the time. T, U, and lowercase u would be the same, almost exact thing. V. So I'm going to create my post on this side. Again, let me show you on a bigger paper with the V and the W and the X are going to be like this because they have a slanted straight line. Your V, right? So say you've got your lines that you're writing on. Your V, you want the post to come down, and rather than being straight at the top and bottom like this, right? And then you put your V part up. You want your post to go slanted across to meet the top down, and then like straight again against the lines. So rather than making your post, because then it comes up off of that edge, right? So rather than making your post a regular post like you would, right, for an R or anything else, you make it match the line. I'm trying to dream up ways to describe what I'm talking about, guys. So again, instead of making my post like this and then putting this part up, I will make my post match the lines that I'm writing on like this. Even if there isn't a line, there's an imaginary cap, right? So same thing works for, the same thing goes for like a W and an X, like I said, and I'll show you those in just a second when I get there. So my V, I usually draw my horizontal or my vertical lines first, then I draw my caps. Right? W is the same way. So I'm going to draw my vertical lines first, and then I will draw across and go W. And same thing for my lowercase one. And the X is the same way. My post is going to be this part. So I draw my verticals, and then I put in my X line. And then Y you can thicken either part, really. You can thicken the little crossbar thing. Oops. Or you can thicken this one. I tend to do this one. I like this one. I think it gives it more substance. And then lowercase y would be the same thing. And Z is kind of like the S, right? So running out of space on my giant sheet here. But Z, regular Z, again, has, you know, where you meet this and this and this and this meet as far as width goes. But then if you extend this to create a post, now this line is short and this line goes out too far. So I, again, account for that by going like this and adding extra line on the bottom here. So then, and you can always do that afterwards too, so that when you create that post, then you meet up on both sides. So we'll do that here. So you'll see how I've made my Z, the bottom looks too long, but then by the time you add your post in here, it doesn't, then it matches up. Okay, so there is our full alphabet of adding the post. Now, this is where you can do fun things with the insides of those spaces in your post. You can scribble them in, which I think if you're in a hurry or you kind of like, you're depending on what you're doing or what you're writing, sometimes you can kind of match what you're actually writing to the style of lettering that you're using. So if I was saying something about, you know, oh, it's been a hectic week, I've been busy, I might just do some quick scribbling like this, because it kind of gives me that feeling like, oh, I haven't been able to really finish anything all the way. It's just been a hectic week, right? Or if you want to, you can do all kinds of things with this. You can put one of my favorites is to just put little hash marks. And because if you're doing it this small, you don't have to be all that precise. But little hash marks are cute in there. It gives the illusion of kind of being filled in. And again, it goes fast. You can be way more precise if you want to. I'm in doing this right now. I kind of don't care if it's a little messy, because by the time you look at the whole rather than just one letter, it gives you a nice illusion. So I might not like the way that this one letter worked here, but as you read across the whole line, your eye catches just kind of the theme of it, and it feels cool. It likes the way it feels. You can leave them blank like I did here. You can put polka dots, right? Little dots from your pen. That's another one that I like to do. It's very visually catchy. And fast. So there's some cute little polka dotty letters, right? Or you can take one of your colorful pens and add some colorful scribble in there to match your theme for the day, to match whatever, your mood, to just look cool. And again, you can spend your time coloring it in, or you can make scribble, either way. So you kind of, I mean, right, use your imagination. You could do all different kinds of things here, right? If you're writing on kind of a colorful paper, sometimes leaving it open looks cool. Or if you're writing on a more busy paper, coloring them in gives it more substance and it makes it, you know, a little heavier. So we're going to take this and then we're going to just expand on it slightly. We're going to add a serif. So if you don't know, you know, what a serif is, if you've always seen like fonts on the computer say sans serif or serif. Serif just means these little lines at the bottoms of things that hang off of things like this. Those are serif. Sans serif just means this version. There are no serif. Sans just means without. Serif means with. And there are several different ways to do it. You can put little curls on them. You can color them in and make them dark. You can put just lines like this, right? So let's again address these are all just making a post. So let's write the word hello again. And I'm going to do it with my makeup, what we just did, what we just learned. I'm going to make a post and then write my word hello. Okay, so there's my word hello. That is what we just learned, how to make the post and leave it like that and do all the coloring in or lines or scribbles or whatever you want to do, right? But we can change this by adding serif to it. So you can do that in a variety of ways. You can have, so I'm going to show you here on the H. I'm going to make a bigger H so you can see what I'm talking about. Easier, right? So on this big H, you can make the serif just come off the outside of the letter and not the inside. Can you see that? I'm going to do it in Sharpie so I make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. There's my post and there's the rest of my regular letter H. So you can make the serif just come off the back side or the outside of the letter, and then on where there is a thin line, make it go all the way across. That's one way to do it. You can also make the serif come all the way across your thicker letters as well. It's totally up to you, right? Let's do an E. So here's our post. Sorry, there goes a big truck. So here's my E with just my post. Now, I can't make the line go all the way across, so I'm just going to extend it off the back. I'm going to extend it off the back here. And you can leave it like that, or you can add the hang down here, and then you match it up there. You can stop there, or you can go all the way in on it and put the serif on the crossbar as well. Now, if you want to go even further with it, you can turn those into little boxes and turn this into a box. And now you've got serifs that match kind of your thick and thin lettering as well. So this is where you just start experimenting with it, right? You just start trying different things. I would say I really am into putting the little swirls on my serifs, because I think it's a really whimsical writing style. So I'm going to do hello a little bit bigger here. Or let's do the word smile, maybe, huh? So in order to create my S, I'm going to leave my little anemic side here, right? So I can create my post like this. And then I'm going to do my M. Like so. I'm going to do my I. Like so. Okay, so here's my word smile. Okay, now to add the little swirls, or the little curls, I'm going to take this one and curl it in, and I'm going to take this one and curl it in. And those make sense to me because it's already curling in this direction, so I'm going to keep curling it and just give it a little curly Q on the end, right? The M doesn't necessarily have a place that seems like I should put a curl. So I'm going to just extend my serifs off the ends here, and then really you could put one here if you wanted to or not. The bottom of that thin one really needs something. You can put one here too if you want to. Now my I, I'm going to curl this side in and leave this side out. And then on the bottom, I'm going to do the opposite and curl this side in and that side, right? Then on my L, this is my little spot, and then I'm going to put my serif across the top. Here, I'm going to extend my posts out, and then I'm going to put a little curly Q here. And then, because it would look like probably too much if I curled in here and curled in here, I'm going to just leave the serifs as little posts there. So I think that's cute. And I like to write like this a lot. I think it's kind of whimsical. A way to make this a little bit more whimsical, and I'll just tell you my little tip and trick on that, is rather than make the posts, you know, as square as you can or as even as you can, sometimes it's fun. So like if I were to make that eye, I'll start out thicker and come in a bit like this to make it kind of skinny in the middle. And then I'll make my, like that, right? And then the same thing would go for the L next to it. So then you get kind of this cute, even more whimsical thing going on. And sometimes this ends up happening just because it's thinner at the bottom and thicker at the top, because like I said, I'm not a professional at doing this. It's just, you know, it's what feels right, what you like. A lot of times I will practice, if I'm going to put something on a card or address an envelope, I'll practice writing out my hand lettering on a scrap piece of paper before I put it onto the main thing, so that if I do this and I'm like, oh, I really don't like the way, like if I put curly cues on all of these and I was like, whoa, that's too much, then I could say, I'm not going to do that on the, you know, main one. So this is adding a serif. Adding a serif is just finding the place where you add the serif, and it's up to you how much serif you add. Some of them will have the lines on the top and the bottom. Sometimes if you don't like that's like too much like that, you can just do it like that. On letters like this, right? The serif would go down underneath here, and then here where you've got this weird thing, it doesn't cap off like that, which you can do though. I mean, honestly, this is yours. Work, do what you want to do. Oftentimes that serif will just hang funny like this. You can do it either way. Sometimes when I'm doing a serif handwriting and I come to this weird little dangle, I just won't put one there, which you can do it that way too, right? I'll put my serif there and I'll go like that. And I'm like, nope, that's good enough for me, right? B. So your places here would be off the top here, off the top here, and then a lowercase b would have serif here and here, right? And when I do it, I usually tend to leave this little bit of a gap there because I kind of like to exaggerate the serif. You know what I mean? Like if we're going to put it there, let's make it clear. The C, you could put like this, or you can do lowercase and just put it on going on the inside like that. D, and then lowercase d. I'm going to go again, leave the space so I can exaggerate it. So once you start doing this, again, I'm going to say, go home. I can't say go home and practice. You're probably already at home. Just get out some pens and paper and start practicing. Where do you like the serif? Does it look dumb there and you don't like the way that looks? Okay, try it where it only goes in on the inside. Does that make it look like a G or something weird? Then maybe you say, I'm not going to put a serif on the E because I don't like the way that it looks. Hey, you know what? That's why you practice. Right? So there you go. Also, go type something up on your computer and see how it looks. Look up hand lettering and look up, you know, serif fonts and start practicing and try them out, right? And then inside of your, so if you do, this is just without a post, right? I mean, these are just without a post. I forgot to mention that's what I was doing. And these are with a post, although you're smart enough people, you can pick that up. Now you can also do some of your stuff where you add some interest on the inside. And now you're taking it up another notch, right? Now you wouldn't have time to do your entire journal entry this way unless you're just one of those people that has endless amounts of time on your hands, but that's not most of us, right? Another cool thing this way is if you take, so we've got it in a thick marker, right? We've got it written with a thicker one. Now I'm going to take my finer nib and you can go ahead and create a finer post off the back. And that thick and thin thing looks pretty cool too. I will do this sometimes too. And I'm just doing it's almost like thickening the downstroke. But I'm just doing it with a finer nib. And that creates a cool look too. So go experiment, guys. That's your assignment today. Go experiment. Thanks for joining me for creating a post and adding a serif. If you are interested in this lined paper, I will have the link for that below. It's a free paper generator. Just go to the very bottom of that intense looking numbers and all the things you can put in. Don't change any of it and just say get paper, and this is what you'll end up with. It's nice to practice on. It's got, you know, lines for you and stuff. Or even just get out a notebook. You don't even have to print out anything if you don't want to. Just get out a notebook. Cheap notebook. And give this a shot. So thanks for joining me today for part 2. We have a couple more parts that I will show you some more hacks and tricks and tips. Until I see you next time, guys, take care, stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, whatever time it is, on whatever side of this planet of ours that you live on. And until I see you next time, take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.